one of the things I don't like is how they introduce so many new characters and they do basically nothing with them. We barely see Batgirl, and next season she becomes Oracle. We barely see her do anything in this season. Tim Drake barely does anything either. Though, luckily for Tim, they didn't make him Red Robin yet. So, if they use him, which I'm on episode 6 right now of season 3, it'll be cool if they actually use him a bit more. They didn't use Beast Boy that often either. Season 2 just felt so messy compared to the first season. I enjoyed it, but it was just messy. Arsenal was cool, but soon as Arsenal showed up, they did nothing with Red Arrow. They used him a bit more in season 3. But soon as they find the real Roy, the one that's not a clone, and they bring him back, we never see Red Arrow again, or Cheshire Cat. Except for that one episode with her going to avenge Artemis. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this season because it was pretty messy. And I also really hated the first episode. Because I went from season 1, episode 26, season 2, episode 1, and I didn't understand a thing that was going on. Because they just pulled a lazy route and said, oh, it's 5 years later. Okay. Now to talk about the episodes. I guess I'm gonna have to put Invasion. That's season 1. There we go, season 2. Happy New Year. It became the new year on the final episode, and to trick you into thinking that it was basically all the same until 2 seconds later, where they show that Miss Martian is dating Goon Boy and this and that and that and that. A bunch of stuff that immediately says, oh hey, it's like years later, this is not the same part of the show that we left on. I did like how they introduced Lobo, but he always reminds me of someone like Professor Pig or Victor Jazz or the Doll Maker or Mummer. He's not someone that should be in a kid's show. Hence why I'm glad that he returned in season 3. Because he didn't get to reach his full potential. They also, when they used him, they tried to trick us into thinking that they were doing a violent death. Even though they pulled the same shit in season 1. In season 1, there's the volcano guy. And he tries to kill his once human master by grabbing him by the arms and tearing him in half. But then we find out he's a robot. Season 1 opens up with the first person that gets killed being a robot, and Lobo doing the exact same thing, grabbing him by the arms and pulling him apart. So I knew he was probably going to be a robot. What else? I wish they would have told us why while he left. It was clearly to be with his girlfriend, but he really liked being a superhero. I don't see how he gave it up so easily just to be with Artemis. Because he tried to save a little girl as fast as he could just to go be a superhero some more. So I wish they would have explained, did Artemis get hurt and that's the whole reason? Or what? That was a decent episode. It was cool to see Paimon again. It was definitely cool to see Shimmer again. And Icicle Jr. didn't really do much in that episode, but be a perv again. Not much for that. Not much for that. Oh yeah, Arsenal. Oh yeah, we were talking about Arsenal. It was awful what they did to him. He did something that was sort of selfish. But listen to this. He was gone for like 5 years. And then it's like almost another 5 years. But later he confirms that it's only been like 8 years. So he was stuck in a pod for 8 years and they quit. Just gave up and assumed he was dead. Because of Canvas policy. Because they actually decide to mention how it's Canvas policy to kill the originals. Even though at the same time they try and pretend that thing never happened. Anyway. So people are getting kidnapped and put in pods again after he just got out of a pod. And so he runs for his life. He does not want to be put in a pod again. So later he still goes and saves the team. And he gets kicked off the team for not wanting to go through the same trauma that he already went through. And then they try and guilt trip him to say at the same time, which made no sense to me. Oh yeah, the Reach. The Reach were a pretty boring villain. I liked how Mongul was in it. He's a pretty cool villain. Eventually I'm going to finish all my DS reviews because I've done quite a few, but I still have quite a few games left. And one of them is a Superman game that has Mongul in it that I want to talk about. Mongul is such a cool, underrated villain. Years ago when Injustice 2 ended, people thought, obviously, the next big bad should be Darkseid, which would be cool because that would mean he would be playable once you beat story, because he was DLC in Injustice 2. But I think Mongul definitely deserves a spotlight in a major game or a major movie. Just something. Because Mongul is such a cool villain, and in the end, he gets his butt kicked easily. He puts up a good fight with Black Beetle, and then immediately gets his ass kicked just when there's another Beetle to join the fight. Which I thought was stupid. That was a decent episode. Yeah, not really much to talk about. But it was a decent season, just way too confusing, and they underutilized a lot of characters. Tim Drake basically did nothing during this, besides like 2 or 3 episodes where he was sort of there, because he helped break free all the people that got kidnapped by the Reach. And he was in the first episode with Lagoon Boy and Blue Beetle on that mission. But he really didn't do anything during the series, and Batgirl did even less. And Beast Boy just got a little backstory thrown in, and then we barely saw him again. We saw him again during the Impulse episode, and he showed up here and there. And he showed up when Wally died, and that's about it. They just didn't really give us time to develop the new characters. So I hope they develop him a little bit more in season 3. But we're a few episodes in, we've barely seen Blue Beetle, and we've seen Garfield a few times, and that's just him as trying to save all the metahumans. Which I actually like how they're continuing the metahuman thing in Vertigo, even though the last time they just skipped 5 years ahead, which they clearly skipped a few years ahead too, because some of the Justice League members resigned, and I forgot what I was about to say. Some of the Justice League members resigned. A few other people have sort of different designs, and Ms. Martian kinda is accepting herself as a white alien now, white Martian. But it's clearly a few years ahead, though. But they're still doing some of the stuff that they were doing in season 2. So I like that.